Okay, so in this video right here, we have to graph the equation x equals 2y plus 4. And not sure where you've been in terms of the other station, but it doesn't matter because we can still graph this. Now, x equals 2y plus 4 is not in any one of the other forms that are in the other stations. It's actually no particular form in general, but we can still graph it, right? So you could try and put this into one of the other forms and then graph it that way, but we don't need to for this example, although you could. So what I would encourage people to do is pick easy points to try and plug in for x and or for y, and then use those points to get 2 points on your graph, and all you need to graph a line are those 2 points. So I would always encourage kids to use zeros, right? Because if I plugged in 0 for x and solved it, it would be a pretty easy problem. And if I plugged in 0 for y and then solved it, it would be an also pretty easy problem. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to look at my x coordinate, and I'm actually just going to plug in 0 for x. And what I'm solving for here would be for y, right? Because if I plugged in 0 for x, I'm only left with one variable, which is y, and I can solve something for one variable. So I need to get the y by itself. So first I need to subtract off 4 from both sides, and I get negative 4 equals 2y, right? And then to get the y by itself, I just divide both sides by 2, and I will get negative 2 equals y. So when I think about this, right, what's the coordinate for all this? Well, I plugged in 0 for x, so that's the x coordinate, and it gave me a y value of negative 2. So I could plot that on my graph, which would be right there at 0, negative 2. Now I need 2 points to graph a line, so I also need to find another coordinate. So you could plug in something different for x and then get a different y and plot that. That's absolutely fine. What I'm going to show you now is actually if we just plugged in 0 for y, instead of getting a y-intercept, we'd actually get an x-intercept. Just another way you can plug in a point. So I just like working with 0 because it keeps the math simple. So if I plugged in 0 for y, I will get x equals 2 times 0 plus 4, right? And then the 2 times 0 would just be 0, so it's going to be 0 plus 4, which is 4. So that's it. I get an x coordinate of 4 when I plug in 0 for y, so it's 4, comma, 0. So on my graph, that would be right there. And all I would need to do would be to connect those two dots, and then I would have, I would have my answer for my graph. And that would be graphing a line that's in no form whatsoever.